the challenging thing, I think, for a lot of people is figuring out the balance between building relationships and kind of making friends with people, and then also being able to have some kind of like trajectory with, with opportunities. And so I think patience plays a big, role in that. What was your sort of like timeline like of that trajectory, and how did you stay patient in your process of
I was never patient. I always felt like I was behind. Like I said earlier, it's like I grew up a guitar player. I started playing steel in my early 20s. So that's a pretty late start to an instrument if you're wanting to do something in a professional capacity, relatively speaking. Most people start a lot earlier. It was very difficult to stay patient. I always was trying to push the ball forward pretty assertively, and always looking for opportunities. Not to a predatory degree, but I always really wanted it to happen. For that pursuit, you sacrifice a lot of sleep. You sacrifice a lot of you don't have hobbies, you just go for it. And so when I would have to have regular jobs, I'd be practicing or playing all night, or going out to shows and trying to find players that are inspiring, to try and figure out if you can somehow get on their radar. And this is really difficult because, you want to sit there and find some kind of Zen middle ground where you can be content and ambitious at the same time, but it's very difficult to do. I think as a young person, you kind of have to be cool with just going for it, going hard,
Totally. And I think that there can be a lot of Zen in just understanding that you're just going to feel that way.
Yeah.
Just to, sort of once it happens over and over again, and you kind of like, you get overwhelmed, then you get through it, and then you're like, oh, cool, things are getting a little bit better. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm not, getting it there. And then you realize, at least I realized, this is going to be a lifelong experience. So I just have to accept that it's going to happen, and it's okay that it happens because it means that I am moving forward. But now that I'm like aware that we just think that way naturally because of our motivation and because of our intense passion about being able to do what we do, for a living, I've been able to find a little bit more control in managing it,
for sure.
But just understanding that it's not going to go away is probably the more valuable takeaway from that concept in general of staying patient.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of these things run in cycles, 5 to 7 years, you're in a different version of whatever you're working towards. You start to see, I've been here before. Whether that's trying to break into a new area of the music business or your career, or trying to learn a new skill set, you kind of, as a creative person, I think it's pretty normal to be constantly seeking that stuff out, constantly learning, constantly finding new ways to create. And so in that way, you're kind of beginning again over and over again.